Tony Khan really firing the shots here. AEW and WWE will go head-to-head. A little bit of Smackdown stretching into AEW Rampage's territory, and the billionaire from Jacksonville not too happy about it. He says the profitability of the war between WWE and AEW is getting bigger. We'll talk about it on today's Sports Gear Wrestling Top Story of the Day. Share the link, you stink. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! What's up, Jeremy? How you doing there? Jeremy, Nebraska, if you ask you. How are you, bud? How are you doing?
Good. The weekend's almost here, man.
Watch out. Well, the weekend's going to be intense.
Watch out!
We're going to get into it here. This Tony Khan story is getting more and more insane by the day. Tony Khan is just drumming it. He is really trying to get people to pay attention to his company and what they're doing on Friday night and paying no attention to the other company over here. And what they're doing is wrong, and all these different things. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth as well. 90 minutes of Inside Cradle tonight. 90 minutes of Inside Cradle with Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net, the man who broke the big story with Bryan Danielson earlier this year. We run down Crown Jewel. We go into great depth on this story, but what's the latest here? Tony Khan says, you know what? I'm down for a war. I'm down for it.
Yeah, obviously, the first shot was fired by WWE by saying they were going to go 2.5 hours on Friday for supersized Smackdown. So then Tony Khan retaliates with, let's put a buy-in before Rampage on YouTube Live, and let's have a dream match in that buy-in with Bryan Danielson and Minoru Suzuki. Of course, you got Lee Moriarty against Bobby Fish as well on that card. And Tony Khan had recently spoke with the New York Post and said that this kind of war, this kind of competition is actually going to be good for both sides. He says in wrestling, we're worth more against each other and we're better off against each other. I believe there's a greater value in the wrestling market when we're fighting and people want to see competition in wrestling. I think it's one of the reasons why people lost interest in wrestling was because there was no true competition for 20 years. Now with AEW in the mix, competition is back in wrestling. And I think more people are excited about wrestling than there have been in a long time with the free agent movement and good shows. By the end of the day, it has to be good shows. Though in the 90s, there were a lot of great wrestling shows. Every week, every month, there would be great stories, great matches, and you couldn't miss it. I think it's starting to get that way again, says Tony Khan.
Interesting comments. He's been doing a lot of media this week with a lot of sources where he knows the fans will megaphone it.
Said Raw sucks, which it kind of did, but
yeah, I don't agree with him, but I just thought that was kind of, I don't know, below him. Is that fair to say?
He wasn't lying though. Let's just say that.
I didn't think it was an awful show. To say it sucked is a reach to me. I've seen worse editions of Monday Night Raw. Yeah. Say it sucked, I thought it was a reach. Everything is either it's awesome or it sucks. There's no in between, right? There can't be any in between. Extreme Rules sucked. The ending was the rope thing. I was like, well, what about the rest of the pay-per-view? No. I want to see it. You know what I mean? Like no one has that. And he wouldn't want his own brand judged that way. So let's take it as that. I think he's ramped up. I think he's aggravated. He thought he would be able to have his brand pivot off of SmackDown and go on after them and be able to, carve out a niche. And that's why they were on, that's why he was doing that. Now, the issue here is, and everyone's going to say I'm a WWE apologist. I'm not. The issue is MLB playoffs have put SmackDown on FS1. So WWE understands that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to tune into their local Fox network affiliate station at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Where's my wrestling? I watch SmackDown on Fridays. It's not there. Baseball's on. Go over to FS1. It's going to take it's going to take some time though. So how do we pivot that another 20, 30 minutes at the end of the show? Also, you think you're going to watch some AEW Rampage? Well, we're going to give you a really cool free main event as well.
Yeah. And so,
you wanted the competition. You wanted it.
Yeah.
And now you have it, and now you're offended by it.
Well, I don't know if I don't see Khan being offended by it, so to speak. He just answered.
Little bit. I get the sense of that.
I don't see that I don't think he's offended because he just said this competition is good for both sides.
It's good for both sides. But if you read other things, if he's saying Raw sucks and I'm going to put on this better show. And it's very rah, and those are things he needs to say. You should be offended that they're going to try and compete with you if you're trying to pivot off of them.
Well, yeah,
it's like, hey, I want to compete with you in a general space of wrestling. I want to be able to pick off this thing. I think I already got the head on you on NXT on Wednesdays. I'm going to do this. This is what I think we're going to do. Right. Yeah. And I think this is the best for my brand. Now you're coming at me head to head. Come on.
WWE came at AEW.
Sure.
So
sure. Yeah. But look what you did. You know what I mean? You went for their talent. Now you get it coming back.
Yeah.
But isn't this what you asked for? Like that's my thing is like you asked for it. Then you're getting then you're saying, well, it's good for wrestling. Of course it's good for wrestling. The fans are the people that win in this thing. The Wrath of Khan. And also, if you're WWE, come on. Yeah, you're going to do something. You're going to do something to try and shake it up then.
Yeah, because, I mean, when's the last time SmackDown went 2 hours and 30 minutes? I don't think it ever has.
No. It makes more sense than being preempted. Like, if Rampage was, hypothetically, let's just be hypothetical. Say Rampage wasn't on Friday night, right?
Yeah.
I think them doing a 2.5 hour show would still be cool.
I mean, if you included Talking Smack back in the day when it was on FS1, you would have that.
Say they don't do that. What's to say they do that at?
And then, I don't know. It's weird, but we'll see what happens. I already see a lot of people that are like, well, I'm going to watch Suzuki and Danielson. We'll catch SmackDown on the DVR, so there's going to be a lot of people that do that. And a lot of people are going to catch Flip, it's on YouTube. So they'll be like, oh, well, I'll catch it on YouTube later on. Yeah.
It's free. I mean, and it's going to be an amazing match. It's going to be an awesome match.
Yeah.
I still think it could break down into an angle that leads to a bigger match on pay-per-view or like on television or something like that too.
Yeah.
Shout out to everyone watching the show for the first time. If you're with us for the first time, don't make it the last time. Make sure you subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube. Turn your notifications on so you know exactly when we go live. We go live between like 5 and 7 Central every weekday with Top Story. That's why we're doing this. Coming up at the top of the hour, Inside Cradle with Cassidy Haynes. We're doing that at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. That'll also be available on our podcast feed. Paul Heyman will be on the channel tomorrow. Paul Heyman will be talking up this big SmackDown show, so that'll be very interesting. He has some very interesting things to say.
You couldn't figure out our tease from last night.
Stephen Chambers saying Danielson versus Suzuki is going to be great. Buy-in could be better than Rampage. I'm absolutely agreeing with that. Yeah. I'm surprised it's giving this away.
Yeah, it's not an overly strong Rampage. It's noteworthy just because it's Junior Dos Santos's debut. Ruby Riott and Bunny is kind of hasn't really won a lot. So Ruby Riott's probably going to win that one. That's not going to be out of the realm. And then of course, you got Punk wrestling. So
we got people watching from New York City, all the different stuff here. Shout out where you guys are watching from. Obviously everyone's going to talk about who's going to win the rating and what the rating is. I want to see what shows they're going to do. I think SmackDown's going to throw some real curveballs this week. I really, really do. They got Becky Lynch and they got Sasha Banks in a match. They got Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns facing off at some point on the show. And they're going to do something else on top of that. Don't know what that is. And WWE has no problem doing hotshot things that open the show and close the show, and they have 2.5 hours to do it. So distinct possibility something happens here. I think they're going to make some business here. And they're going to feel fire into their ass. And this is what you want, right? This is the profitability. This is the war you want. So you're going to get it.
The way the women are going, unless she just does not want to travel there or has other obligations, I don't know why they don't add Charlotte to that and make it a fatal 4-way and then winner take all.
What's to say they don't?
Yeah, maybe we get Becky 2 belts after Thursday.
We'll find out. That's, of course, leading up to Crown Jewel coming up here on the 21st. After that, though, those recently drafted WWE rosters will settle into place. If you're wondering why are these people from Raw and SmackDown, I thought they emphasize this over and over, but sometimes it goes over people's heads. Those rosters that they drafted 2 weeks ago are not set in place until after Crown Jewel.
Week from tomorrow.
Shout out Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. Shout out where you guys are watching from. If you're watching for the first time, I want to get you here on screen here. Shout out Kentucky, Liz Cookie to Kentucky, all that stuff. Nishad Jawali saying split screen tomorrow night. Gonna watch both shows. Watch both shows. You have no obligation to watch one show over
there. Get that surround sound remote ready so you could flip back and forth.
On Inside Cradle, by the way, we go off on the most ridiculous tweet about what you are obligated to watch on Friday night.
Tweet from who?
Oh, you're gonna see. It's coming up here. It is probably a tweet that I doubt is still on the internet for the ridicule it has gained. So
like from a famous person or
no. It's not important who it's from. It's more what it's saying. Other people joining us here about what they think here. Sound off here. Other people, Michael Kent saying Shane McMahon's going to show up on Rampage and say that he now owns AEW. The name on the contract reads McMahon, but it reads Shane McMahon.
Oh boy.
What a throwback there. What a throwback. Zambia, what's up, baby? We're going all international here.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. We have a lot of people enjoying the show in the podcast version of it, by the way. We have we're in the top 20 in Ghana. Top 20 wrestling podcasts in Ghana, baby. You know it.
Kofi's pimping us in Ghana.
We're going for all the territories. That's what we're trying to do here. A lot of people here with anything here. Molly Warwick bring this up here. While we're talking about AEW, I was gonna have a banner on this, but did you see the leaked card that got out?
Yeah.
Tony Khan appearing at of course sidelines for the NFL football team that his family owns. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who are currently now losing 20 games in a row from last season into this season.
Feat that has not been matched since the 70s.
Yes, a loathsome one. And in a photo where he didn't look too happy, he has all of his data, all of his stuff in his hands. He has a piece of paper on held there, and this photo goes viral because wrestling fans can't help themselves.
A lot of detectives
zoomed in on that photo.
Yeah.
And discover what looked like a makeshift card for the upcoming Full Gear.
Yeah, I got the whole list in front of me right now.
Do we want to read it? Do we want to give a lot of that away?
I don't know.
Give me the top two matches here. Maybe we want to give the
whole
thing away.
The interesting things are obviously Kenny Hangman, that's no surprise, but and MJF Darby. I mean, those are already pretty much set in stone. The most interesting match listed there was Punk and Wardlow, because it doesn't make much sense. They haven't been feuding with each other, but there is going to be an eliminator tournament to determine the next number one contender. So maybe they're hot-shotting Wardlow into that. Maybe they start a feud coming up this week on Saturday or Friday, I guess, since Punk's wrestling. Another interesting match. Ooh, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley on there. Yeah, I'll take that. Moxley fresh off his win against Nick Gage at the GCW Fight Club pay-per-view.
It's a work. The whole leak was a work.
It's a work.
Jeremy.
He just had a notebook. He knew the internet was going to go.
Someone was going to take his photo and they were going to zoom in on that piece of paper.
The other notable one on there was Christian Cage against Adam Cole, and then also Cody against either Malachi Black, Andrade, or Miro, which also led people to wonder if Cody is getting reinstated in the championship picture now, since he's been banned from it with the loss to MJF long time ago. So some interesting things on that sheet of paper there.
Some interesting things indeed. It's interesting who isn't on that card, and a lot kind of lays up some names that have not been pushed by AEW in quite some time. No Brian Cage involved in that. So it lines up though. Who's a big star? CM Punk. Who's a big star? Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson.
Yeah. They're going to be on every pay-per-view.
Yeah, and they should be.
Yeah.
But you're going to see that, and then you're going to see some people not there that you want there, and that's wrestling, right? Not everyone gets to have a spot on the show. It's part of the gig.
It's in every promotion. That's every promotion it's ever existed. Not everybody can get pushed at once.
Everywhere for sure here. People with all their different takes here. Our very own Mike, our social media director, joining us here in the chat with AEW momentum continuing. Tony Khan should focus on AEW full time. That would be a good move. Of course, Mike is a big fan of his Jacksonville Jaguars.
He's salty at Tony Khan,
and he is not He's not a fan of Tony Khan's Moneyball football, which is not transcended the sport of baseball into the sport of football.
And you got Urban Meyer dancing with young women in a bar.
I don't care about Urban Meyer dancing. Just win games.
I think that's why it's a big deal, because they're 0-5.
There's a comment in here I can't share. That is.
Who's it by?
I'll tell you later.
I missed it apparently.
It's all right. It's all right. I think I would get in trouble if I shared it. I'm not going to do that. So a lot of different takes here. Let's move on to our next story, buddy. What do you got?
We got some big pay-per-view news. Obviously, the big new kind of thing coming down this year is the New Year's Day show for WWE. So because of that New Year's Day show, the day one pay-per-view, January 1st of 2022, there is now no pay-per-view on the December docket. That means no WWE TLC. TLC was originally scheduled to possibly happen on the 19th of December, then maybe the 12th in Chicago. Now it's a live event super show. So they are no pay-per-views listed for December on the WWE events. Very interesting because we're so used to having TLC kind of close the year. Now we're doing day one instead. It's weird. I mean, it wasn't too, especially when you had the branded pay-per-views, it wasn't too out of the realm to have pay-per-views 2 weeks apart, but maybe now WWE doesn't want to get that too oversaturated with that for whatever reason it may be. Maybe TLC gets moved. I'd like to see TLC get moved and put it where Elimination Chamber is, because I hate Elimination Chamber before Mania, because it really screws up the booking of the Rumble, and it's almost predictable for Mania. So I always hated that. So maybe put TLC in where Elimination Chamber is and push Elimination Chamber down the line. Maybe September would be a good spot for it or something like that.
Who knows? I mean, just make it organic. We're going to have a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view next Thursday in Crown Jewel, and it makes sense. It's a personal issue, and you get to end it in a big cage with Edge and Rollins. These TLC matches, they just happen in December because it's TLC. Right?
I see a lot of people say, they would like these specialty pay-per-views just to go away and just have these matches pop up every now and again.
Yeah, come up with some new concepts, some new names and stuff like that. I have no problem with that.
Don't just tie TLC to a pay-per-view.
I don't mind it with Hell in a Cell, because Hell in a Cell is an attraction. Like the Royal Rumble is an attraction. I don't want to see a Royal Rumble all the time.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Hell in a Cell at Mania though again.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
same with TLC.
I saw Triple H and Undertaker at 10 years ago. It was amazing.
I saw Shane McMahon and Undertaker.
Yeah, so it was special, right? It's a special thing to see. So I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with it, and mind you, that would have been in my town, and I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? I would have been all right with that. We are gonna have some cool stuff though, rolling through the Midwest. They're still gonna have a Friday Night Smackdown that week in Chicago. They will be in Rockford, and you can win tickets to that December 18th at the xrockford.com, my radio station. We're giving away tickets to see the WWE Super Show. Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, the Usos, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Finn Balor, all on one show. All of that talent on one show. No commercials. Pretty cool stuff. Some great matches announced for this too. Big 6-man. So go check it out. The xrockford.com. You can also check out my interview with Drew McIntyre talking about that. Also worth noting, WWE news, Royal Rumble tickets went on sale today to the general public. Royal Rumble going down at the St. Louis Dome of the America Center. Capacity around 66,000 for sports. So they're going to get an excess, probably another 5,000-6,000 on top of that with the field and the production setups and all those different things. So it varies, but look for 60,000 tickets to be sold for this, I would say, with the production end and what the entrance might look like and all those different things. I don't think this will sell out in a week or two, maybe a little bit closer to the event itself, but they'll move some tickets for this. Yeah. And they're doing it in a city that is hungry for a big pay-per-view show. They have not gotten one in a long time.
They were supposed to get Full Gear, so
yeah, they were supposed to get Full Gear, and they were kind of flip-flopping here.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. They're going to be a little bit further down in the Midwest than they are up north. So it'll be interesting to see how that moves. It's the Royal Rumble. It's an attraction. I don't think you really need to advertise a single match for it. You're getting 2 Royal Rumble matches on one show, and you really get the beginning of WrestleMania season. And Jay Feliciano throwing out war. Why don't we see a War Games at WrestleMania? Dude, come on. We're gonna
have War Games.
How do we get that out of the ring in there?
Only if William Regal comes out to announce it.
War Games. War Games. I absolutely agree. A lot of people sounding off here. Thomas Belair. So will AEW sell at a big arena like WWE? Well, they've sold out big.
They sold out a bigger one. They sold out the Arthur Ashe.
That's more of a stadium. It's almost 22.
True.
You can say it's a stadium, but it's really an arena.
It is an arena, yeah.
It's 22,000, so they've done really good numbers. Mind you, though, other markets they don't do as well. You know, everybody's talking about, oh, Raw drew this in San Francisco this week. Same week, you know, you had AEW drawn less than 2,000 people. So it varies, you know. I was at the Sears Center when it was sold out for AEW, and they had a Dynamite in 2019 that came right after 4 days after WWE ran 4 shows at the Allstate Arena. The market was burned for wrestling. AEW didn't do too well on that show, right? So it varies. Depends on where you are. Depends on the time you're running. Depends on what you're up against. You know, you're running they had a Giants at MLB playoffs on Monday night. So why would I want to go see wrestling? I can watch MLB playoffs and stuff like that too. So a lot of conflicts. Stuff happens. You know, they're not going to sell out everywhere. You need some big things. Fans choose to skip some shows depending on what you're selling. You know, some people say, do I want to go to a live event house show? Notice AEW doesn't run any of those. WWE does, depending on where they do them and when they do them. So do we want to do them around closer to Christmas when more people just want to get together and have a good time? Yeah, that's when we're going to run them. So that's what they're doing in the Midwest. They've done it every year, and it does pretty well. Decent business. Not saying it's barn burner business. It'll be fun. See how things play out. I know everyone's rooting for one brand over the other. Can you say something crappy about this brand that I don't like that I argue with people about on the internet? No. So I'm used to that. It's all right. And then you have people like Dog Dookie Water. He's got Dog Dookie Water. Of course, he's here to troll, telling us that all I can say is that AEW is delusional.
Is that
delusional?
Is that Sean Smith's burner account?
Who knows? They're delusional. We'll sneak this one in here from Richard. What do y'all think about WWE and AEW doing the same arena late November, December? Do you know anything about this? Are they
doing well, if it's what I'm thinking, I think it's the one where neither one is really selling that well right now.
Same arena.
Yeah.
Where is
neither
this?
one right now. I don't know. AEW is outselling WWE. Maybe that's the one AEW is outselling WWE, because there's one where they're at the same arena and AEW's already sold like 8,000 tickets and WWE's only sold a couple thousand. But then I've also seen an article where there was an event where AEW hasn't really sold well either. So like it just goes to exactly the point. It depends
on what market you're in. You know, there's some towns where AEW does really well. There's some towns where WWE does really well. They will almost always do well in Chicago, but there's a lot of new fans for AEW that are like flipping, going to the other brand, saying, I'll try this other new thing, you know?
Yeah.
I think also AEW benefits from just being fresh and new in that regard. You know, like they are a hot new brand. I'll try the new thing, you know, that's fresh and cool. And there's a benefit in that. You know, there's a real benefit in that. But then there's also you got to hit them the first time they come out to your show. This is the first time they've ever seen your show, and it's just okay. It's not the best thing they've ever seen. It's just good. That isn't good enough. With WWE, they've kind of bought the rope of, I've been to some WWE shows that are better than others. I've been to a few. Yeah, this one was okay. This one was all right. I went to a pay-per-view. It was great, right? Yeah. So they have that. They have they've bought the consistency of that too. WWE is despite what people say, will be allowed to get away with more of those things in general. Yeah. We have a lot of content for you to consume, Jeremy. You're with us here on the Top Story all the time, but I know you're busy with your own little podcasting game. Tell them about it.
Yeah, new episode drops tonight. Actually, just dropped. I uploaded it after work. Between work and this, Lost in the Mid-Card. We took a week off last week, but Matt and I are back this week with a new episode. We talk about the draft because we took off last week, so we briefly kind of comb over that. We talk about the battle for Friday with Tony and Vince here. Then we talk about some of the top headlines and stuff. With a new episode, just search for Lost in the Mid-Card. If you're doing the podcast, you can do that on Spotify or iTunes. Make sure you choose what is called has titled the new feed, as we switched podcasting affiliates, and then we're also on the YouTube for the video version of that as well. Just search for Lost in the Mid-Card. Drops every Thursday.
Thank you to all the new people joining us, watching for the first time, and all these hot stories. Obviously, we will be live after Smackdown and Rampage on Friday night, and you can watch that maybe Saturday morning, however you will. Also, get us in your podcast here. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Just search Sportskeeda Wrestling. That is Sportskeeda Wrestling. You can see it right there. See how it's spelled. Don't misspell it. I've had some people send it to me. Is it Screta? No, I don't know Escrita. All right. Wouldn't want to know if I better.
Escrita? Maybe some Freestyle Friday tomorrow.
Maybe some Freestyle Friday tomorrow. So get your questions ready if you didn't get them in today. We'll jump into all that. Remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important thing, which is what, Jeremy? Which is what is that major thing you have to do?
Enjoy wrestling, especially on Friday when you got a lot of it in your face. Yeah.
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 Let me talk to you.
Yeah. Let it talk to them.
Yeah.